Hey, it's America's Supermom. Thank you for joining me on my podcast. This series is the Corona Chronicles. I created this so that we would have an outlet of positivity in the midst of a lot of negativity. You know what I'm talking about. All the news, the fear around this virus, how it can affect us, what the new normal is looking like, and how so many things have changed that a lot of people feel like um, it is the end of the world, so to speak. So, this podcast was created so that those of us who have hope, who are willing to move forward with this new normal and innovate new things that will help us to be creative and positive. That is what this platform is for us to come together and share that positivity and that light with those who may need it. So if you're interested in sharing your insight, please reach out because we can never have enough positive news. So sit back and enjoy the show.
I want to thank you guys for joining me today. I'm really excited about my next guest, Deann Jensen. We actually met through Facebook, and we were connected, and we were able to get on a Zoom call. And she actually had the graciousness to allow me to even add somebody on our Zoom call. So we really have dived right into networking at its best, and I really enjoyed our connection because we were able to talk about things that we really feel that we have the same interest about when it comes to moving forward in our life and just some of our insights about how to maintain a growth mindset and things of that nature. So at this time, I'm going to give Deann the opportunity to introduce herself before we get into the interview.
Yes, first I just want to say thank you. Thank you for having me on your podcast. And it was so neat the way that we met on Facebook. I just have to say that like Facebook and technology has allowed us to connect in such a global manner and
Mm-hmm.
connect with people that, like you said, have similar, interests and similar values, ideas, and we can really come together and, make things happen. So it's amazing. Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome.
Yes. And so, yes, I'm Deann. I'm Deann Jensen, and I'm a spirituality coach. So I am also a meditation teacher, a success coach, an author, an educator. And I help people, coaches, entrepreneurs, but also people who are aspiring to really live an empowered life. I help
Mm-hmm.
people do the inner work, really clear that inner trauma or inner blockages that we have, that keep us kind of living the same cycles, maybe toxic relationships, maybe just trying to be in control of our lives and just keep living these cycles of unhappiness. Help them break through that so that they can live a life that they are excited to live, a life with more ease and flow, where things can come easier.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and I started my journey. I was diagnosed with anxiety. I had ADD, depression.
Mm.
Yeah, I as a growing up, I experienced some sexual abuse, and just that
Mm.
I didn't have the tools to cope with it, to deal with it, and so it went into a downward spiral.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's really, I was just, in that place of feeling lost, disconnected, anxious all the time, and what really helped me, it was back in 2006. I ended up working for a yogi who taught me how to meditate.
Mm.
And yeah, and never before was I able to find that sense of clarity, calm, and really was able to be like, hey, there I am. Like,
Right, right.
and look at my life from a different perspective. So, I started meditating, started reading some spiritual books, and really saw my life from a different perspective. I was able to see it more from like a bird's eye view, like the big picture, and kind of realize that some of these things that happened in my life, maybe they the pain, the suffering, our traumas can really be transformed into empowerment and into something beautiful. And that's really like the basis of my business, or how my business was born. So thinking back and being able to take that view of all the hardships and stuff, like it was all happening for me, even if I couldn't see it in that
Mm.
moment.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
That's good. Now, so that really is a good segue for people today who are in the space of dealing with, their own trauma related to, this pandemic that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
It even if it's losing their job or losing a loved one due to the virus or something like that. So, what was it or what is it that you could share with them that could help them with that um, breakthrough of happening for you instead of to you?
Well, it's with this virus, it's definitely been bringing a lot of things up, and a lot of things that I guess aren't really what we would consider our normal. And
Mhm.
yeah, so it's really where these tools become really, really important in these times, such as, mindfulness and meditation.
Mhm.
Because the world is always changing, and that's one thing that we can kind of count on. is
Mhm.
always going to be changing. And so it's really like, how well are you able to adapt, and also how well can you still stay focused on the things that are going right. And
Mhm.
especially in this time when things are hard, just take a step back, and try to connect, and maybe see the bigger picture. Try to look at the bigger picture of everything going on. And I think the biggest thing is really realizing like where you have your power, and not
Mhm.
letting the things of the world that we don't have, when it comes down to it, that we don't have a huge control over. Like, this is a virus, and
Mhm. Mhm.
so what can we do? What can we do for ourselves? Can we take some time for some extra self-care,
Mhm.
journaling it
Mhm.
out, reaching out to people. We're not as face to face right now, or in person, but we can
Mhm.
still call, get on Zoom calls. um there's lots of support out there. You might have to, being at home, reach out for it, though.
Mhm. Mhm. That is so good. Now, and so walk us through the whole thing about recognizing what you have power with, because I think a lot of people um, struggle with that. I know for me that was a game
Mm.
changer to determine, why am I spending my time and energy on something that's out of my control?
Oh,
So for somebody who is in this space where they're like, I want to get a better perspective on what's in my control and not in my control. So what should they start with in that transformation?
well, I think that everyone, might be a little different. Like, for me, it was the meditation. And so I would
Mhm.
definitely say, taking some time to pause and connect with yourself, connecting
Mhm.
with your how you're feeling inside, with practicing. The thing about like meditation is there's a practice of allowing, you know, your thoughts to come, but you're not attaching to them, so they're just
Oh.
flowing. And so you can kind of get a grasp after some practice that, whoa, wait, there's all these thoughts, not necessarily all of them are true, or do I have to listen to them all? You know, they're just coming, and you can kind of almost be guided to a place of truth there. um I would also say that
Okay, but let's
journals.
let's back
Yeah. Yeah.
because for some people, key right here.
Mhm.
So when you say you have the thoughts but don't attach yourself to them, so give us an example of that.
So I like to think of it kind of like an example I use is kind of like at a party. When in meditation, and I mean there are different practices of meditation. You know, maybe there are some where you would pick a thought and you would hold on to it, but just like a
Mhm.
general, just, you know, sitting and letting the just paying attention to your breath and letting the thoughts flow. I think of it kind of like a party, and so your thoughts are like all your guests, right? And so they're just
Mhm.
coming and they're coming up to you. And you know, if you're having a big party and you have like a thought or a guest that, you know, you necessarily don't necessarily like say it's a thought you don't like,
Mhm.
um you just let it say its thing and then be on its way. Kind of how if you were at a big party and you were talking to someone you didn't like, you would just let them say hello and then goodbye and on to the next person.
Mhm.
Or you can think of it as a river too, like just allowing your thoughts to come and
Mm.
go. So maybe they come and they're on, you know, flow away on a river. Some people imagine, you know, like a stream or a river.
Mm.
But the thing is like a lot of time our brains are always going. They're always, you know, producing thoughts. And if we're more stressed, then they're definitely more loud. And so it's a way to distress. But instead of trying to solve things, so you get a thought pops in your head like, oh, you know, I need to, you know, I don't know, write this post later. And instead of trying to figure it all out right there, you're just like, okay, yeah, that's cool. And then like next thing. Um, and what it does is it helps you in the daily life,
Mhm.
your waking life, not attached to some of the things like that. Because you know, we could be going through our day and then all of a sudden we think about, you know, something and it distracts us and throws us off because we, you know, we're trying to solve this other problem that maybe all this thinking about it really is just a waste of energy and isn't going to solve the problem, because what's going to happen is going to happen.
Mm. Mhm. I like that. Now, so like when you're for somebody who starts out meditating, and then I'll let you get back to your topic because you were getting ready to say journaling or something, I think. But for with the meditation, is it a good idea to kind of have a piece of paper or something to write on during that time, or is it just to keep trying to focus on your breath? So let's say that you are meditating and then, oh, I need to pay that bill. Should you write that down and get back to meditating? Or what is the best way to kind of get started for people that are like, they have so much busyness going on in their head?
Right, yeah, I mean, you totally can.
Mhm.
I think that's actually a good idea. I usually do it after my meditation and just journal down my afterthoughts. But
Mhm.
I do write down any inspiration or any thoughts that, did pop up that I want to remember. And it is kind of a neat thing when you kind of become aware of your thoughts to journal afterwards, or you could do it during too. There's nothing wrong with that, just
Mhm.
writing it down right there and going back. But it's a nice reflection to kind of start to see some patterns, or maybe
Mm.
some things that are popping up for you, that might have triggered you. And that's a great way to start to get an idea of what are the thoughts that are triggering you,
Mhm.
and what is on your mind, that that is consistently popping up. If something is consistently popping up, during meditation, then that's something to look at. And that
Mhm.
might be where one of the blocks, or the trauma lies behind, if there's that sort of pattern.
Mm. That's good. Okay.
Yeah,
Sounds
yeah. And
good.
that's kind of what I was going to go into with the journaling. That's another thing to kind of pair with your meditation,
Mhm.
or to do too, is to just journal it out. Like, get those thoughts out, your worries, get them out there. And sometimes, and like what I'll do is like write it all out there. Like, and this is just like a release. And you can use cuss words. You can, you be
Mhm.
just honest and get it out there. And then take a moment and kind of be like, okay, kind of step into your higher self, that part of you that is connected to something bigger, connected to source or God or whatever it is that you believe in, and kind of look at it and almost answer back to yourself.
Mm.
And you can get a different color of pen if you want, and write it down, and give yourself that love, that compassion, that support,
Mhm.
that you can give yourself. And coming from a little bit, that place of like clarity, or coming from that higher perspective, you kind of get a different perspective. And you just
Mhm.
kind of got to see what, comes. But like, I'll, write to myself, and it's like, okay, listen, this is the truth. like really, this is what matters. And
Mhm.
the things I respond back to myself, and it just it helps. Try it out.
Mhm. Mhm. That's good to know. Yeah. So, I mean, these are some good ways to kind of get started, because I think a lot of people have a situation where, they want to and go about it, but a lot of times they hear the common terms about, you know, doing the things that matter, when it comes to meditating or, journaling. But it's like, for people that are doing it and have done it, um, sometimes you forget how you got started, or you going back to the simplicity of it, and
Yeah.
explaining it in a way, because it's a part of you now, where it's a pattern and a habit that other people just can't identify with. So sometimes it's these practices that you evolve to learn how to do, that other people just can just consider it a major breakthrough, you know.
Oh yeah. And
Mhm.
honestly, like, for someone who is kind of like I've never done, anything like that before, like, just start small. Give yourself like 10,
Mhm.
15 minutes a day where you can meditate and journal. Make it kind of like a little release session where you can, get the things off your chest, get the things off your heart,
Mhm.
and really put it out there. And it's a little scary for some people. I think some people have a little bit of a resistance because, I mean, sometimes there's tears. Sometimes,
Mhm.
it hurts a little bit to feel the feelings and to face the things. But that's where the growth comes. Like, our emotions are not supposed to be, suppressed, and they're not supposed to be, held onto. They're supposed to be felt and to help us grow, and then we transcend them. And that's, how we really can go from that place of pain to feeling better, really.
Mhm. Mhm. That's good. Now, so talk to us about, so you're talking about these emotions and feeling them. What are some things that you think people don't do that hold them back from being able to experience that growth and evolution when it comes to, identifying with our emotions?
Honestly, I think it's our go 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 kind of attitude and way of life. We've got so much on our plates, and like, we want to perform and we want to serve, and we've got families and we've got our careers and our, so many different moving pieces. And sometimes it can be difficult even just to take 10-15 minutes, for
Mhm.
for yourself.
Mhm. Mhm.
It can, and almost like, I have had people be like, well, 15 minutes of meditation, or I could work on this paper for 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
okay, like, I understand. I do. I understand that, because, I know how time can be very, very valuable. But when we do this kind of inner work, we can free ourselves up to have more energy. Honestly, we do.
Mhm.
Yeah. And, like, when we're stressed out, and we keep going, like, we're tired, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, it's like, okay, let's get dinner and let's just, relax.
Mhm.
But it's
Mhm.
kind of like an avoidance, I guess, is what we're
Mhm.
doing. It's avoiding
Mhm.
the feelings, avoiding, and we think we're protecting ourselves. I know we are, and it comes from
Mhm.
the best place. We want to protect ourselves, but the best way we can really empower ourselves is to work through it.
Mhm. Mhm. That's good. That's good. So, thinking about meditating, journaling, and taking this time to kind of reflect, let's explain to someone in the audience what are the benefits of this. So like, and how quickly can they notice this? Because, a lot of people want to have change, but it's like, we always have that microwave mindset, wanting it
Yeah.
now, today. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So give somebody a timeline about, based on, your observations, some things that they can possibly just start getting involved in that could have a certain response and when that may take place. Does
Yeah.
that question make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll be completely honest. It's not a quick fix.
Mhm.
The first time you do it, like journaling or meditation, it might be uncomfortable, and it might, so it really taking the judgment off of, it having to be perfect. But when we start to do some of this work, like journaling it out, or meditating, there is a sort of like a detox that happens. And
Mm.
that can be a little bit different depending on the person, but it could, like, depending on how much you've been holding on to.
Mm.
So this could be a few days, or it could be a few weeks where you're having this detox
Mhm.
of emotion. And it can be an emotional time. Like, then I think that maybe some people stop because they're like, oh, this isn't working. I'm so emotional, like, it's not working. But it
Mhm.
is working. Like,
Right, I see.
Yeah, that's and so there is a little period of almost discomfort of feeling it all and allowing those emotions to finally, come through. So do, for if that, when that's happening, to really, really take care of yourself. And I mean, like, just listening. If you are tired and you need to rest during that time, then you rest. Some people some people have the opposite and they're like really inspirational. And so then take action, then take the action, but just honoring and letting whatever it looks like for you, honoring that and letting that be without judging it. And yeah, because on the other side of it, once those emotions are out and we're able to clear is where that feeling of like, oh, I feel so much lighter and I feel so much more free and energetic or ready to go and do whatever it is that you desire. Maybe you didn't know until you cleared your mind, but what you were going after. But I would definitely, say, like, I guess that, like, kind of like, just being totally honest about it, that it's not a quick fix. And that there is that, to be gentle with yourself, because there is that timeline, but that it is totally worth it.
Right. I really like that because I think for most people, we want the results, but understanding that there's a work to it, that we have to be patient and understand that, anything worth having, it takes work, so that's something to be mindful of. So, what are some things that you do in your regular routine, that help you have a growth mindset, that you're open and able to be transparent and vulnerable and, all the things that are required in order for you to continue to evolve and stay um, in this positive place?
Yeah. So I do have a morning ritual that I do without fail in the morning time. That it includes meditation, includes journaling, and I will just journal it out. I mean, I'll also write down affirmations. But really the most impactful part of that is kind of writing down the thoughts on my mind, and then coming from that place of my higher self and my purpose and what I'm here to do, and being like, okay, if I'm having thoughts that are unhelpful, or bringing some light and truth to those. But I also, in that morning time, I use that time to really get my mindset into the place where it's ready to go for the day. Because sometimes we get up and we just start going, and then thoughts start going. Like, one thing is, like, really pay attention to what those first 3 thoughts are in the morning. And so the first thing I do when I wake up is a gratitude bomb. And that's where, so I'm choosing what my first thoughts are in the morning. A lot of my clients, a lot of people, like, that's where it begins, is when you wake up. And that's where either, the thoughts start to go in one way, or, the other way. And, once we start having a bad day, it usually just starts to snowball. And so I like to try to snowball it in the other way of having a really amazing day. So So I'll start off with the gratitude bomb, which is just a mental list of everything that I'm grateful for, everything I appreciate in my life at that moment, at that given time.
That's
And
good.
yeah, and I just keep going until I can't, and sometimes, if it's a morning where I'm having a hard time, I'll just look around my room and, I'll see my cat and be like, oh, well, I'm definitely grateful for my cat. And then, like, it'll start going from there. I can start getting some things. But yeah, that gratitude practice, and then I'll come out and journal it out. I'll usually pull myself an oracle card and kind of reflect on that and what that kind of message holds for me for the day. And that I'll light some candles and get I try to get all the senses involved, like waking them up, but waking them up in a way that brings joy to myself. And that's really kind of how I start my day, is getting the crap out, and
Mhm.
bringing in some joy so that I can set some really impactful intentions for myself, because that'll
That's
be how
good.
I'll end it at the end of meditating, journaling and stuff. I'll be like, okay, what are my intentions for
Mhm.
today? And I usually pick three, something about, usually something about business, something personal, and something about health.
Mhm. Mhm. That's good. Okay. Well, this has just been great, Deann. I really appreciate all your insight and words of wisdom, and so many questions that we could dive into that, really this type of topic we could talk about all day,
Right.
but I really appreciate your time. So what is the best way for the audience to get a hold of you?
Yeah. So you can come and follow me, find me on Facebook, Deann Jensen. I love to, have friends, have people in my audience, because I talk about this stuff all the time.
Mhm.
And then on Instagram, I'm living mindfully with Deann.
Oh, okay.
And then the other way that you can connect is my website, livingmindfullywithdeann.com, which really,
Mhm.
that might be the place that you go. If you want to connect with me, go there, because there's links to my Facebook page. There's links to, the Instagram. And also there's a link there to I have a free community where I do mindfulness, meditation, manifestation, and mindset trainings. So if anyone wants to come join the free group, come check out the website. And I also have all my coaching information on there. You can just kind of see what I'm about.
Awesome. This is good. And then what final words do you want to leave with the audience?
Final words I would say is that you are an amazing creator, and you have the power to create a life you love. And I know that the world is crazy, crazy right now, and there are things out of our control, but there are amazing people out there and who are doing good things. And so just stay focused on the positive and know that you're amazing.
Awesome. Great, great insight. Well, thanks again, Deanne. So glad that we were able to connect, and looking forward to collaborating again soon.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I'm so happy to know you now, and I know that we're in each other's worlds now.
Awesome. Well, you have a wonderful day, okay?
You too.
All right, take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining me on this episode. I really enjoy providing content that inspires and challenges us to be a better version of ourselves. If you are interested in being a guest on the show, please email me at info@lachelleatkins.com. You can also reach out to me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, or my YouTube channel. If there was something in this episode that resonated with you, it probably will resonate with someone else. So please share it. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. But those aha moments, those moments of really getting something and changing your perspective are very, very pivotal in having people change the trajectory of their lives. And so being able to share insightful information so that other people can grow is the easiest thing that we can do as we pay it forward. So again, I want to thank you all for listening. And if you have time, write out a review. Go to iTunes, Anchor, wherever you can find this podcast on any of those platforms, and write a review about what impact this episode had on you, what you learned, or whatever. Any feedback is great because it just helps me to understand what content is really beneficial for those that are listening. So again, I want to thank you all for your support and taking the time to spend some time with me and my guests. And I wish you a wonderful day. Thanks for listening.